My name is Jennie Brown. I'm a student at Liberty University, and I'm doing this project for my interpersonal communications class with Dr. Staley Abney. This is week 7, December the 11th, 2022. I come with over 20 years of social work experience, and I was doing about 600 home visits per year. So when I started this class, I did not think that I could learn anything that I didn't already know out of this class, but I was very wrong. One of the things that was very prominent in the class overall was to have effective communication. There must be a talker and a listener. And by listening, we get to know others, we get to know their hopes, their joys, their needs, their emotions, their spiritual needs. And that's one of the things that Schultz and Bazinski talked about. My goal from this project is to increase my interpersonal skills by becoming a better listener. In this presentation, I will identify barriers and communication traps to avoid, and then identify ways to overcome those barriers while answering Peterson's question, which is, why don't we listen better? One of the areas that we focused on was the behavioral blend, and the uniquely you disc personality profiles was developed by Dr. Miles Carbonell in 1987. And each of the 4 main disc factors, which is dominance, influence, supportiveness, and conscientiousness, are characterized by specific personality traits. And he characterized those traits by using the letter of the word that he was describing. So the first one was dominating, which he said that dominating is determined, decisive, doing, and directing. Influence, which is the I's he used, inspiring, inducing, impressing, interested in people. And supportiveness, he used servant, submissive, stable. And conscientiousness, he used calculating, compliant, careful, and contemplative. After taking the assessment, my behavioral blend results were DS, and that is dominance and supportive area. And so the dominance was about control and challenging and being in control, in the supportive area, being in the support role. I was a little surprised about the results of the profile assessment, especially at the dominant part, and then wondering how can I be so dominant and supportive at the same time. But after looking at myself and seeing the big picture of me, I realized that I think it was kind of right on. I have a bad habit of coming into sessions, interpersonal communication sessions, with my own agenda. And so in those home visits that I do in my role as being in social work, I would come into those home visits to meet with families, and my agenda would be to complete my paperwork, to do the enrollments, and regardless of what I was there for, helping them in any kind of way, helping them with their mental health, helping them with their pregnancy, whatever I was there for, my goal first was to get that paperwork done. And so I can see myself being very dominant in the role that I was participating in my social worker home visits. And also the supportive area. Not only do that I was thinking about this because I'm like, well, I'm always supportive, But the area that hit me was I always try to fix it. I'm the type of person who try to fix everybody's problems. Um, I my mom passed away when she was 45 years old, and so in my personal life, and helping raise my other younger siblings, I I was that person of always trying to fix everything as well. So some of the communication barriers um, that I looked at throughout this course, one of the barriers for me in particular was just not listening. Um, According to Schultz, some barriers may get in the way of individuals' attempt to communicate well. Um, I didn't even I didn't even attempt to communicate well because I had my own agenda when I would come into these sessions. And so uh, the other barrier for me was that fixing it piece, trying to help by fixing other people's problems. We know that listening is hard by itself because we like to be comfortable. We don't like to listen to things that are not interested or interesting to us and stuff like that. So it's already a piece that comes hard. But for me, even with the fix it piece in my home visits, I would guide the conversation to what I could really help them with, regardless of what their needs were. Um, it was, for me, I failed to really listen to them because um, if I can provide a crib for your baby, then I'm going to be like, so asking, my only thing I'm going to be asking you about is safe sleep, where is the baby going to sleep, instead of saying, hey, so what do you need? What do you need for the baby? They may not even need a crib. I could have listened. And so trying to fix things that really don't need fixing is an issue and one of the barriers that I possessed in my own professional career. Also, goals and strategies, the dominance goals. My goal for being dominant is to free myself, to walk into um, communication sessions, home visits, and leave my agenda at the door. And this goal is important um, because I need to make room for opportunities for us to communicate and for both parties to gain something out of the communication, and take the opportunity to release my control and to actually listen. And a goal for me in the supportive area is to be able to identify a person's needs, and I can't do that without listening to them first. To be supportive in personal communication, I need to first listen to be able to identify those needs and to see how I can support them without using my own way of trying to fix what I think they need. And so in my implementation of the things that I've learned, I will be listening moving forward, listening with love. Um, Peterson talked about someone using structured agape love, and and I thought that was a good word for it, structured agape love, because it has to be structured in the professional field, and what that is life-giving, non-judgment love of God, and we can do that. And things I also need to do is to acknowledge and to repeat for accuracy. And when I do those things, I know that I'm listening because I'm acknowledging what they're saying and I'm repeating to make sure I heard them correctly. Also, providing safety, making sure the environment and my stance is safe for them to share. Also being empathetic in their needs, not necessarily what I can help them with, but empathetic in what they need and what they're going through. And in conclusion, I think it's very important for us to finish well. For me to finish well, to finish my opportunities of communication, my home visits, to finish well, that we walk out of there with in success. Success for me, even getting the things that I need to get done, but also success for the other person, that they felt heard and they got something as well out of the interaction. Being sensitive to people's feelings is wise, and that entails just being empathetic. And also, a couple of the things in conclusion and moving forward that I will apply as some of the biblical advice, and that is for my dominance area. In James 3:17, it talks about being gentle and not being bossy. And then Ephesians 4:26 talks about controlling feelings and actions. And then in Philippians 3:13, it talks about just focusing on one thing at a time. And also in Galatians, it talks about developing a servant's heart. And I think that's very important. Jesus was one of the main examples of having that servant's heart. Also, in my area, being in the supportive role, being confident and fearless, providing that safe space. Timothy, 2 Timothy 1:17 talks about that. Also, being more enthusiastic and empathetic in Colossians 3:23. And also, in the supportive role, being bold and being strong, not in a way that you can fix it for them, but being strong and having that strong shoulder for them to lean on, and for an opportunity for them to be heard. So I appreciate the things that I've learned in this class, Dr. Abney. It was a pleasure being in the class, and every week I gain more and more information that I can use in my daily living, and thank you.